Welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you guys doing alright. So I just noticed something. Shout out M. Thank you for putting that reading on. Um Definitely learned some things. I had to put that shit out on my page. Now, these are just thoughts, you know, not the most experienced man with knowledge. And but I am a man nonetheless. Meaning, it doesn't matter how much you know. You know, knowledge is about comprehension. You know, comprehending things is not always easy when you don't have knowledge. So, meaning, until someone shares with you the proper knowledge, then you only can assume, you know, until you go look up things yourself and then you get knowledge. You don't always have to wait for people. Now, I tell people to do this because many of us don't have teachers, elders, or proper guidance, you know? Most elders now think guidance is just saying shit. The regular, not realizing, no, being an elder is teaching your life, your flaws, you know? You could be the greatest teacher ever in two, three things, you know? And because you don't express how you were learning and how you achieved and only went to a certain level because of life circumstances, well, then when they go through circumstances, they might stop where you stop. But if they know what's coming, they can get ready for it to go further than you were. Now, anyway, let me jump into this before I forget what the fuck I'm talking about. Because I think I just did. And in this video that I watched, this reading, she mentioned a movie, Lady Hawk Sound the Horns. Now, a couple of years ago, when my journey started, I found a hawk flew right above my head onto a telephone pole and devoured a squirrel. And me being in the city, you know what I mean? That's not normal at all. So I made a video about it, used my Batman mind, looked up some things, and ended up making a really good video that told me that's a fucking message. You're literally, you just got a sign, my nigga. And I believed it because the odds of seeing a hawk in a city of New Jersey is very it's plausible, you know. Southern Jersey has a lot of different animals, a lot of different storms have been going on that pushes the animals and the wildlife from down there up here, then they return, you know, shit like that happens. So but when everywhere you've ever moved, you always see a fucking hawk in the sky, you kind of start realizing, yeah, why do I keep seeing that? So when I seen that, I knew it was go time. I thought I was gonna lose. So in this video, they're describing this spiritual shit of the hawk and the wolf. And she starts to explain it through a movie, nonetheless. I wonder why I talk about movies a lot, because that's where a lot of knowledge is, or examples of the spiritual knowledge. And people are just thinking and watching movies. No, you're watching the Bible. You're watching someone else's ancient belief systems. You're watching things that people actually believe or know is real. Either way, you're gonna learn. Um, soon as she put up the little picture of the movie, I knew exactly what movie it was because I seen it when I was a kid. And I won't say it's one of my favorite movies, but it's a movie that stands out in my mind. And I know my father made me see this movie for a reason. The wolf has followed me my entire life. And with this new evidence of this old ass movie bringing me back to my youngest years, and I'm like, why was you watching shit? Like, why are you so, And now I'm older, and I'm like, yeah, Jedi Knight and Wolf Guard and dirt. The things you watch will put messages in your fucking mind, and it's going to either create or unlock something that's already there. Now, in this thing, she said their love is so rare, or some like there's something special about these two people, but they're cursed. They're cursed not to be together, even though they're like the ultimate lovers or some shit, because they have a responsibility or something like that, right? And in the movie, they were cursed by day and night. When it became daytime, the lady would turn into a hawk. When it became night, the man would turn into a wolf, werewolf. And watching that scene and having that explained, I gotta go to the movie again. I gotta watch the movie or watch at least someone explaining the movie so I can speed through it. Because there's gems all up in that thing for me. I already know it. Um, but it began to speak about like they're opposites, but they're not, and all this other weird shit, right? And then she said, they're the representation of something. Like, I don't know if she said these exact words, but she says something about yin and yang. And seeing that I've been like on that path for a while and learning new shit about it every day, and you know what I mean, not acting like I know everything. Just acting like, nah, I'm on a path or something that I know other motherfuckers walk this path. There's no way. There's too much evidence. There's too much, and I can't tell you what it is because I don't know the words. You can't tell somebody the journey when you're going through it. You don't even do it, you know what I mean? So you gotta listen to people that took the journey before you. So as she's explaining the curses and how it goes back to some biblical shit and is to keep these people apart, she goes into a ancient, I think African gods and shit, and she starts talking about this scorpion sign and how when he was the god of scorpions or some shit, that sign. There was something that I guess the Lord wanted him to do, or he wanted to do, but it would cost him. He would have to stop being a scorpion, and then he would be cursed. And he took it on. It's like he didn't get cursed on somebody gonna curse him. No, he knew if you do this, you get cursed this way. This is what's gonna happen. And he said, I don't care. I'm built for that shit. I could do that. That's nothing. So like the curse was like him transforming into I think a wolf or another sign or some fire or some, I don't want to misquote the woman. It's in the community the post section. The last reading I put in there, twin flame something. Um and she's talking about how the scorpion is the sign of water and fire and the genital areas. And I said, like, my Batman mind kick in right away, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, if you're a scorpion, because I'm an Aquarius, and um people with the horoscope shit ain't real and blah blah blah, you're idiots. Fortune telling almost. Not, you can tell the future if you're not an idiot. Um, and I believe in spirits, so you know, you kind of it like but it's the long term. No one can ever know long term because then God wouldn't be God. Only He knows what's really gonna happen because He runs shit and He's not giving that power up. So that's what always makes me never believe anyone because my father said no one knows. So Anyway, she starts talking about how this this journey, this mission that he's taken is for something or other people, or I'm not really too sure. I got to go back and watch it again because I was ignorantly doing two things. I was playing my game and listening to it at the same time, and I wasn't even paying attention because I was doing good. And then out of nowhere, I can hear what she's saying, and she's bringing up this movie and this. She says the yin and yang thing or some shit like that, and I said, "Oh, the feather and this other, all the shit that connects with this video I just made," and was like, "Yo, I just found a hawk's feather on the floor. I should have taken it, but the enemy has so many tricks." And then I remember I did the Skywalker video, the Native American god Nappy. And in that video, not even paying attention, I'm recording the fucking video. I watched the reading a couple of days later or a day later, and then it says something about feathers and the Hawk Woman, and they can't be together, and the Hawk Woman leaves this guy signs, her feathers. And I said, what? I said, nigga, you just wait out. Let me go look at this picture. I said, yeah, it might be a hawk's feather. And then I said, yo, didn't you just make a video about like Native American? I said, let me go back and watch that. Not my video, the video. And I watch it again, and sure enough, yup. In that video, it talks about how the medicine man in Native America time was not just a medicine man. He was a medicine man. He was a scientist. He was a plumber. He was a you wasn't the medicine man just to do medicine. You wasn't just a doctor. No, you had multiple talents, and you used all those talents. And unlike the ceremonial or traditional thing that we see with the Indian headdresses when they have multiple feathers, he had his own hat, and it only consisted of two hawk feathers. And I said to myself, that's the second time I seen a sign of a hawk. First I seen one fucking swooping around. Then, it was during the time my first enemy that started the game, he thought he was gonna get me fired. And then I prayed against him. And then I seen the hawk in the sky devouring the little squirrel. And I said, the squirrel's either me or him. Someone's going down. And he lost his job a couple days later. Maybe a month later. He told. I don't know. I made a video on it, so I'm sure I made a report on it right after. So my mind's racing to all these events and things that have been happening. And then I'm watching something. I forgot watching something just now, and it brought up yin and yang, and it made me realize the yin and yang symbol really is the sun and the moon. Now that's not big shit. You know what I'm saying? Other people may have come to this conclusion. Um, you know what I mean? I'm sure I'll probably start seeing this more because now I gotta start studying, or at least God's got to start popping some videos off. Because I'm like, yo, how the fuck you ain't noticed that? You always keep saying the dark or the light, you know, blah 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 blah. You gotta know how to harness it, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, nigga, all the Star Wars shit, all that gray shit is what you be talking about, yin and yang, and how there is no good side without a bad side. There ain't no day without no nighttime. You take one of them away, it throws the entire life off, and we all go bye bye, and that's it. The sun stays out all the time, we're gone. The moon stays out all the time, we're gone. Food's going bye bye. It's the first thing gone is the food. Once that's gone, you know, people don't act right. And that's why I like the gray code. There's no good without evil. There's only the force. You know, the third thing, my father, the thing that made both sides, and neither one of you will exist without him because he set order. And when you fuck that order up, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that. That he didn't lay down laws. No, he told you, I made this environment, and these are the things you need to do to make sure you keep existing in it. You could bend the rules a little bit, but watch. You break that law too many times, and watch what happens to your ass. You'll learn eventually, I'm right. You know? Could you imagine God having to tell everybody, every other generation, I myself would be like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm your father, but nigga, I ain't your daddy. You know the Bible says that's what you're supposed to call him, right? Ain't that ironic? So if the sun and the moon is the yin and yang symbol, right? This is where we get spooky dooky. This is where we get, I have no clue, I'm just saying things. Scientifically, man knows that the sun is hot, and man knows that the moon gives off its own type of light, and it's a cool light. That's why it cools everything off, you know? It's like the sun goes around, blazes everything up, and then the moon comes around with its light, and it cools everything off, right? So that's not a mystery or nothing, because scientists, that's how I learned that. That's why I'm saying it, because it's not something I made up. I seen scientists say it, and I was like, wait up. You mean to tell me that light is different from the light from the sun? Because I thought all light does the same thing, you know? And and if it is, well then scientifically you just fucked up your whole the sun reflects light off the moon thing. You know, because how's it reflecting light off the moon, and then it changes the what it light does? It you get it? You niggas is slick. Now, once they broke that reality in my mind that the sun's doing a job with its light and it's a hot thing, and the moon's doing something with its light and it's a cold thing, and that light, although the light that it does, you can't see it. Light's just light. You only see the things in the dark. You see me now. You can see the road and the people, and we'd still be here if the light wasn't there. You get it? The light went away. You're not going anywhere yet. Then I thought to myself, back to the yin and yang thing. If light, I mean, we can see light. I don't want to get too scientific. I'm sure one of you nerds are like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, and photons, and blah, 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 blah. You know what the fuck I mean. Um, if sunlight lights up the world, right? Does the moonlight darken the world? That's the thing I want to know. Because I haven't looked up I don't really fuck with scientists no more after I like use science and to like, you know, catch them in their theories. I won't even say lies because men are trying to figure shit out. You're not lying when you don't know the truth. You're telling the parts of the truth you know. You just don't know everything. So just like Adam and Eve, sometimes you gotta fuck around to find out. But really, what causes the darkness? Is the darkness just there? Like I said, if the light goes away, the sunlight goes away, or the moonlight goes away, then the darkness will be there. Is the darkness always there? Where does the darkness go when the light comes on? You get it? What is the darkness? Because as I'm going through my knowledge of experiencing this readings and they're connecting shit, goes back to the old Bible shit that I learned and, regular shit that I learned online and, movies and, the boogity boogity's it's always a nighttime thing, right? But then you start learning about history and all these sun god cults. You start realizing sometimes, you're probably gonna have to do things in the daytime. Now I don't want to go there. I want to go back to what is the darkness? What brings forth the darkness that covers the earth? The lack of light. How does the moon produce a different light? If the scientists are right and the sun is shining onto the moon and the moon is making a reflection of light, however that works, um well, what the fuck is the moon made of where it makes it the light from the moon cold? You know, because I think the amateur scientist guy is gonna say the sun's so far away, so when it reflects off the light, of course now it's going to be colder, right? Because they say the moon's closer, and then I'm gonna say, well, we're farther away from the sun than the moon, so why does the sun even work? How does it even work? You get it? Because the sun's so far away. So when you say it's sitting in front of the sun or beaming light off, that means it's getting more heat than what we would get when it's out of the fucking way, right? But but the sun seems to be blazing completely fucking hot down here. You get my drift? Like what I feel and what they say is a little bit, it's a little shaky. What creates the darkness? What is the darkness? Is darkness always around? You know? I gotta start looking up science shit again. Maybe it'll make me understand more biblical things. Well, maybe vice versa. I don't know. It flip flops for me. I've learned things about the Bible, or not even, I won't say the Bible. I learned things about the Lord and the magistry and magnificence of his creation way more through science than the book. The book is like listening to rappers that got like really dope ass punchlines and metaphors and schemes. You know, you really got to sit there and think about what you're reading. It's not meant to be taken a certain way. Your brain has to elevate in knowledge before you can even understand it. or be willing to understand it, because there's parts you can't understand. That's what faith is about. But let me tell you something about faith that they don't tell you. I've never heard this shit before. I only lived it. That's why I call myself Heya Amuna, living faith. I had to live this shit to see it's real. Faith is not, I believe God's real because the book. No. Anybody can write anything. Anyone can say anything. Faith religiously, the way the Bible tries to tell people, is through facts. Meaning, if you learn about the fucking place you're in, then that's gonna lead you automatically to the Lord. And I didn't understand that until, James Adjust, start reading on that guy, and James said, faith without works is dead. And I'm a nigga that does more work and less faith. You know, I don't need to have faith my father's real. I know he's real. Once you know things, your faith goes away. Only thing you can use faith for is you have faith that he doesn't choose you to have a bad ending. Because, you don't know. You gotta have faith that if you do the work of the Lord, you'll get favored in the way that you want. Or is automatic for you, you know? Because I realized the man that said that, faith without works is dead, his works led him to being trapped and surrounded. Because he did the work like his brother. All he did was do what his brother said. Follow my ways. And his brother taught one of the dopest lessons. Don't bother with the heathens. Don't cast your pearls amongst swine. Meaning, once niggas don't want to believe, or if they're haters, leave. Get out of there. Or you're going to get what I got. And he tried to leave with his peoples and his believers. But they wasn't having that shit. I did a couple of videos on that. It's called some Yakub story or some shit. I don't even know. Anyway, just go type in James the Just. Not fucking Holy Bible, no. His story. Yin and Yang. You can't believe things if you don't, see things were already there or happened. Most people's faith is based off of what people told them. And a lot of other people's faith is based off of, one, they look things up, and then two, other people, the Lord actually saved them and do certain things where you're like, whoa, there's no way that there's something that is not, there's no way. Something's helping me. And I would really like to know, what casts the shadow on the earth, Or just like the Bible said, it was always there. And then the Lord brought the light forth. The two great lights, And then, he kind of made something else, just like the sun and the moon, And then they fell out of place. Adam and Eve, if the sun, you know, that would represent men, and the moon would represent women. You know, they even demonstrate in their abilities. The sun brings forth the heat, the fire, makes shit grow, gets people up, brings the order. And then the moon, soothing, kind and generous, calms things down. But shit gets wild at night. Freaks come out at night. Sound the horns. My daddy in the building. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. All love, all praise to the Most High.